This is not your typical video about losing friends, where I get on here and tell you that nobody will understand your self-improvement journey and that you're going to lose all your friends. And that how it's impossible when you're on the self-improvement path to actually make high-quality friends. But this is a story of self-discovery, finding community, self-love, and being comfortable by yourself. And in this video I want to talk to you about why you can feel lonely on the self-improvement path and how you can overcome this. So before I start talking about the self-improvement, loneliness, and how to actually make friends on self-improvement, I want to do a little bit of backstory. When I was growing up, I never really saw the reason or need for having super deep, long-term connections. One of the main reasons is because I didn't live with an extended family. A lot of people, they get that first initial idea of having deep connection because they live very close to their extended family, cousins, uncles, aunts, grandparents, etc. But for me, it was just my family, my mom, my dad, and my sister. And so I never really had that experience. And that carried over into school where I had friends, but they weren't like super close or like super deep friendships where I was hanging out with them a whole bunch. You know, I'd hang out with people here and there, but it was never really super serious. In college, things turned around a little bit where I started to feel like I had more friends. And one of the reasons for this is because I was able to kind of start fresh in college where nobody knew who I was and I was able to reinvent myself as someone who was outgoing, friendly. Now, after college ended, it was around 2020 where we were all locked in our houses. And during this time, I realized like a lot of those friends that I had in college weren't really even that close of friends because I was really only hanging out with them because of the circumstances of where I was at, and I really didn't create any deep connections with them. Majority, 95% of the people I talked to in college were just people I went out with and had fun with. But after college, I realized that I didn't even talk to or communicate with them or just lost touch with them. During this period of time, I really felt like I had no friends again. Or like it felt like what I felt like before when I was in school. But the difference was I got a taste of what, even though it wasn't, I'd say, real friendship, what having a lot of friends felt like. So it felt very awkward in that stage because, you know, I started to work on self-improvement, but I was also not having as many friends as I had before. So I want to talk about the self-improvement aspect of this. I feel like for many of us, when we start the self-improvement journey, we're at like a low point. That's why we start doing self-improvement, because we want to improve our lives and take control of our lives to get to a point where we feel better about ourselves. And that's definitely how it was for me. As I started to pick up more and more steam and start picking up small wins that led to bigger wins on self-improvement, and I started to feel like I was getting better and I was bettering my life, I started to build, and I know this can be common for a lot of people, it's like a self-improvement ego. Now what I mean by this is, during that time I started to feel like I was better than other people just because I was on self-improvement and they weren't. I started to feel like I don't really need any friends or connections because those people wouldn't understand the self-improvement path I'm going down anyway. Even though I was on a better mindset and living a better lifestyle, I still started to feel that there was something missing. And that missing thing was finding deeper connections. So these are some things that I've learned about how to actually have friends while doing self-improvement and how to feel less lonely. Number one is to focus on having more quality friends than quantity of friends. For me, what this meant is really becoming closer to a few friends that I had known from like when I was young, since the 6th grade, where, like I said before, I had friends, but they weren't super deep friendships. So for me, you know, I'd known these people for a long time and we were friends, we were friendly people, but we didn't have like a super deep connection. But I realized that having a few close friends is worth more than having a large group of friends. So for me, what that meant was just focusing on those friendships where, you know, I knew these people for a long time, already built up rapport with them, and we're all on the same path where we're all young adults, all looking to get better, improve our lives, and we're all on this self-improvement path. So it really helped to have a few close friends rather than having a large circle of friends. And one reason this really helps is because it allows for you not to have to look at every single person you meet as having to be a lifelong friend. I no longer feel that need because I have these two close friends where I can have that friendship where we talk about anything, we're on the same path, we face the same struggles, we can talk, have deep conversations. I have that ability to do that with them, so I don't feel like I need to do that with everybody else. And it makes it much easier to actually talk to other people because I'm not looking for every single person I meet to be some lifelong, deep, meaningful friendship, and I can live more in the moment. And that leads me to my second point, which is focusing on the present and not focusing on forever. What I mean by this is, if you focus on the present, you can make a lot more friendships and feel a lot less lonely. One example of this is when you're traveling. When you're traveling, and you meet people, it's for a short period of time. Build a deeper connection because there's this time limit, right? You only might see them for a few days. And so you end up actually getting a better friendship or a better connection with these people than the people you might back home where there's unlimited amount of time. The point being is focus on the present rather than lifelong. And when you focus on the present, you can actually build deeper connections because you're living in the moment. You're not worried about how they might perceive you or how they might look at you a week from now or a month from now. And you're not really worried about, oh, I got a long time to talk to this person, so I want to keep it chill the first time I talk with them. I don't want to reveal too much about myself or whatever. And you end up not really building any connection or ever building any connection because you're so scared to even put yourself out there fully. Another thing I learned from travel is don't be sad that a friendship or a connection only lasted for a short period of time. Be happy that you were able to live in that moment and you were able to experience that specific moment rather than being sad that things aren't lasting forever. The key is to be yourself and don't be afraid. Now, this is probably the most important thing I've learned is you have to learn to love yourself and be okay being by yourself. I had to do this and learn this because this is one of the most hardest things is I would be very frustrated when people didn't want to do things with me or the friendships or the connections I made didn't last long times. It felt like they almost owed me something like, oh, this person doesn't want to hang out with me. That's the worst thing ever. They're a terrible person. Like, oh, I don't want to hang out with them. This was a kind of like my self-improvement mindset talking where I felt that, oh, this person isn't on the same path as me then. Like, if they don't want to be around me and they don't want to hang out and they're wasting my time and they're very flaky, they're not on the same path as me, so I don't want to hang out with them anyway. And really what this was my ego talking, because there's been plenty of times in my life where I've not been able to hang out with people or I've not wanted to hang out with people or for whatever reason, right? Nobody owes you an explanation, just like we don't owe other people explanations when we don't want to necessarily be around them. Another thing that I realized was I started to feel that every time I was around people who weren't on the same path as me, like that I would just fall off. Like, oh, if I'm around this person, they'll enjoy, going out to have a drink, or they enjoy whatever XYZ thing. Oh, I can't be around them because if I'm around them, that's going to rub off on me and I'm on this other path. And that's another thing that I think a lot of people do when they're on self-improvement is they feel like any little pebble in the road is going to derail everything that they do. I had to learn to love and respect myself first and realize that one, I have enough control over my life where even if somebody else is doing something that I don't want to be doing, doesn't mean I have to do it just because I'm around them. Realizing that not everybody is going to want to be around you all the time and that you have to be okay with doing things by yourself. Whether that's going to somewhere off the movies or a trip or, just going to the park, doing whatever you want to do, but being able to do it by yourself and being okay with being by yourself. Nowadays, I don't have this high expectation of every single person I meet needs to be on self-improvement for me to have a connection with them or be friends with them or hang out with them. In my opinion, you should focus on living in the present moment and hanging around interesting and cool people, and whatever happens in the moment happens in the moment. And don't have super high expectations that every single person you meet has to be in your life forever. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Have you found it hard or more lonely when you're on self-improvement? And what are the steps you've taken to making sure that you're still able to have a social life and build friendships and build connections while maintaining your self-improvement lifestyle? Let me know in the comment section below if you like this video. Appreciate it. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.